good afternoon, everyone. Class of basic leadership from different classes, yeah, in undergrad, graduate study from Facultas Economy and Business, University of Indonesia. So let me introduce Professor Dr. Santosh Rangnekar. So he's in the under the faculty exchange program. So I just came back from his university in India, IIT Roorkee. So this is the what's that? The iconic building in IIT Roorkee. That is the oldest. So I was there for 45 days. So the same with Professor Santos Rangnekar. So we are already what is that, colleagues since 2009. Yeah.
Nine.
So we
Yes,
were in
yes.
the same conference together. So only now that we have this collaboration. So finally
Mm.
we have this collaboration. So he's also his expertise is the same with me, HR and OB, the same also with Bu Ayu and Pas is also something else because he is also a practitioner. So uh, he will share with you the challenge of leading effectively in AI and digital era. So please take what's that, listen carefully because this will be one of your assignment later on. Yeah. So not to take so much time. So I will give the time to Professor Santos Rangnekar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Yankee, for introducing me. Right. So, therefore, now we have to first understand that when we are talking about this AI and digital era leadership, why it is required. So, do you see the slide of the global talent shortage?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, therefore, we find that is the in this AI and digital era,
I'm
the
sorry, Professor Santos. Can you make it in the slideshow so that it's bigger? Yes. It's not coming out. It's not coming out. Mm-hmm.
it's at my screen. It is the full slide show. Is it there? No.
Not yet. Okay, continue. Maybe it will come out later. Okay, continue, Professor Santos.
Okay. Okay. No, if you want, I can try again.
Can you click again?
I will. That is the. I will try. Just give me 1 minute.
Oops. It's
First,
done.
I will stop sharing. I will
Okay.
make it the full view.
Is it working? So if it is not,
And
it's
again,
okay.
I have shared. Are you able to see the full view?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Go
Uh,
ahead.
right. You can see now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, therefore, the question of this leadership in this particular era is required because we find there is a global talent shortage, right? This is the World Economic Forum report is there, and as we are leading towards this global economy, and our the past that was more focused on the semi-skilled, right? But now it is the present and the future is going to be the totally skilled era. So employees are more optimistic and hiring demands is stronger, but we find that is the we are not getting that particular talent. There is a shortage of talent, right? So why there is a shortage of talent? Because the leadership is not able to generate that talent which will be okay with the skills which are needed by the industries, and therefore there are the shortage of the talent. So leaders have to change their leadership style so they can develop. And what changes are required in these particular type is that is the first and foremost is that our followers are the talent. their industries are facing, there is a lack of applicants. So leader has to develop the applicants. What type of applicants are required? Now here we find that is the skills, the talent skills, the AI generation skills, and therefore those technical skills the candidates are not knowing. So leaders have to develop those type of the applicants. Second is, because it is the AI and digital era is moving very fast, so the students, the candidates, they are lacking this particular the experience, lack of experience is there. And as a result of which these we are not having the candidates with those required hard skills, right? And they are not having that human strength. That strength is required, that is the what type of the expectations are there by the industries in the current digital era. And their specific, now the nature of organizations are also changing. Like if you see this particular mode of the pedagogy, that is the lecture delivery, now this is also required those technical skills. So these are the issues are there, and not only in a particular country but the globally, it is required that leaders have to change their leadership style. What is required is there is the here the global workforce, a rapid transformation driven by the technological advancement and the evolving business needs. Now we are talking about the 6 M's. What are 6 M's? Are man, machine, material, money, method, and minutes. So these 6 M's are resources, resources for the leaders, and leaders have to make these all six resources technologically advanced, right? And there is a one study, and this study talks about that is the 800 firms are requiring the 11 million employees, for the 673 million jobs are there in the globally. So global workforce current situation, and they are not ready. Talent is not ready, and leaders have to develop this particular talent. Now, a quarter of jobs face, that is the due to the geo-economic and technological and green transitions, the trend in the next 5 years, that is going to be the change because of this AI and digital transformation is there. So few that into the, I will talk about the future of jobs and the explores the optimal policy by the leaders, employers, and the employers are there. Now, where the leader has to focus, the leader has to focus on the upskilling and reskilling of the jobs are there. Here you will find in this slide 39% do not require any training before 2027. These are the jobs are there. But 18% jobs will be required upskilled by the 2027 are there. And the leaders have to upscale this particular the 18% resources, human resources, are the talent people, are the talent students that will be able to match the requirement by the 2027 is there. However, some of you are those who are from the engineering background, are those who have developed these, learned the courses from the open sources and others. They already have certain skills. So, according to the World Economic Forum, 16% are required to develop their skills. Some of you may say, Sir, I know Power BI, I know Python, I know dashboard. That is okay. But still, you require to reskill and redeployment by the 2027. And therefore, additionally, the 15% the training would be needed. Leaders are supposed to provide the training. The leader, who are the leaders? They are the academic leaders, and there are the industry leaders. So it should be the combination in our academia world, that is the we are providing the training. For example, the summer training is there during your vacations of the summer training, but not only on the summer training, but it is also expected that is the during when you are doing your course, you are getting the training, and the training is for the upgrading of your skills, right? Now, which area the skills are required, that I will talk in the further my slides. And therefore, leader, they have to provide the training in the era of digital era and in the areas of the AI are required. Now, I would like to talk about the different nature of industries. For example, you are taking the automobile industries. In automobile industries, you find that there are the now the driverless cars are there. First, second is nature of fuel is changing. So earlier it was the oil and the petrol and diesel. Now we are talking about the electrical vehicles. But as myself and Professor Yankee have visited last year in Taiwan in one conference, and there we found that is the now in the countries are working on the hydrogen fuel, and therefore the vehicles run by the hydrogen, and that is the sparking this H2O the hydrogen, and then the hydrogen is running the vehicle. Now there will be the skills will be required. So this is the one example of the automobile industry. Another example we can take of the textile. So I was a labor officer for the 10 years in a textile industry before joining the academics. And that time it was the number of machine, one person was taking care of four machines. Now the number of person, one person is taking care of the 16 machines that are called the looms, LOOMS. Those 16 looms are taking care of. What it means, nature of machinery is changing. When nature of machinery is changing, nature of skills are required to be changed. And therefore, when we see the foreseeable, the future, here I would like to mention that is the industry and academia. Both they are required to develop a leadership skill which will be developing the technical skills will be required. And training would be needed, but it will be accessible only for the 12% is there. So when you see this World Economic Forum report, what type of the guidelines you develop? So you develop that is there will be the certain percentage of employees who will be having the knowledge of the skills, but now nature of skills are changing, and therefore leaders have to provide the training this type of these employees and make them to the next level of the technical skills are there. Now let us see in this current era of this AI and digital transformation, what are the growing job demands are there. So leaders have to develop the manpower in data analytics and therefore the scientists. So therefore data analysis and scientists, that will the skills will be required if you want to develop yourself as a leader, or the current leaders they have to develop the talent in this particular area of data analytics. I would like to give the example. For example, the HR analytics, right? And therefore you are using this dashboard and Power BI and all Python and all, where you are making these HR analytics. Second area where you can focus in this particular digital era, that is a market research. Unless and until you do not understand the customer requirements, for example, that is the most of you are maybe the 100% or maybe the 99%, they are using the mobile. Now this mobile application using and making this use of mobile application in your job, and that will make you, that is the how you are able to develop your market research analysis. So it is not only that is the you are making the survey methods. The survey methods, quantitative methods, they are not enough now. You are also to be add the qualitative methods, and you should know the content analysis, because you will have the interviews, then you should be able to analyze those interviews. And the one example of that analytical skill is the AI skill, and that is required the content analysis. So you are taking the 10 interviews, then you should be able to identify that is which are the key points in the interviews through the content analysis, what has been mentioned, and then you have to connect your work with this the theory also. So nowadays, the skills which are required in this data analytics, that is the content analysis and therefore contents and characters analysis, right? If you are able to find out the key characters, then definitely you will be able to develop yourself for the future growing job demands are there. Then the big data specialists. So leaders have to develop the manpower and train them into the big data specialist is there, and whether it is in HRM, human resource management, or it is into the marketing, or it is into the fintech, and everywhere or it is into the insurance companies nowadays. So banking industries, or the insurance industries, or the automobile industries, or textile industries, any nature of industries, that is big data specialists are required. Similarly, nowadays the marketing. Now what you see, whether you are using the Instagram, or you are using the YouTube, or you are using this the your the use of the any social media, maybe the LinkedIn is there, or maybe the Facebook is there. Then in that case, every person, whether it is in the academia or into the industry, what they are doing, they are going through the digital marketing. And you should know how to make you best use of the social media is a digital marketing is for your products or your services, or in the case of these whatever these strategy specialists you are developing digital specialization, you should be able to make yourself as a product, maybe the class as a product. And for example, you are connecting to the alumni, then how your batch, whole batch, that is making the digital marketing, and that is using nowadays you are using the digital CVs, right? And therefore in this case whenever you are making you are in the when the many people are developing their CVs through chat GPT. But here I would like to mention it is the man behind the machine is important, because that CV by the ChatGPT, that may not be correct. That may not highlight those key points, key characteristics in your CV or biodata. And that CV means curriculum vitae or the in the your biodata. And if your key points are not there, then you know how it is the particular the talent acquisition is done. I have taken the example in the AI and digital area, the leadership for the talent acquisition in this particular my class. So therefore, in there is a ATS, application tracking system. So if you take the example of LinkedIn, and then in the LinkedIn, through your digital marketing, what is digital marketing you have to do? You have to put the keywords which will be very specific for a very specific job is there. So you are developing your biodata with that particular uh, keywords, so that you can market yourself, because big organizations, they are having the thousands of application, and then in that case how they will select the relevant applicants, and the relevant applicants will be used by the ATS, application tracking system. And therefore you are, and that application tracking system, how it works, that is digitally it will identify the keywords there, and those keywords are there, you will be called for interview. Oh, if those keywords are not there, then you will not, and these keywords are selected by the software, not like the past decades it was through the HR manager. But now it is not the person, not the manager, rather than it is a software. And therefore you should be using your the skills in the digital era with those digital marketing, and in the digital marketing you have to put the keywords are there. Another point number 5 here you see in the growing job demands in digital era is the process automation specialists. Now you see that is the cost of the production is reduced through the process automation. I would like to give one example. In India, there is a automobile industry and company, and that is a Maruti. Maruti is there. Maruti Suzuki was there, and in the Maruti in the India, that was there were the thousand of employees were working, right? Professor Yankee, you would be there with me that they have take us to the Hyundai in that ITAM conference.
Yes.
Right. So in India, you will find for in the same size of the automobile industry, there were the thousands of people were working, and those thousands of people they were creating industrial relation problems. But when in Korea, myself, Professor Yankee, and other colleagues of the conference participants, when they have visited to the Hyundai plant was 90% automated. It was totally based on these particular digital skills, and as a result of which, the now the what is required, it requires process automation specialist. So leaders, those who will be able to make these process automation specialist generation, that country, that industry, that society, that will develop. So universities also have to develop those course curriculum and syllabus. That is the those who are having these process automation, the pedagogy are the subjects. Next is another important job which is very very important in the digital era: business development professionals. In India, for our management graduates, these two jobs are becoming very, very popular. Number one job, data analytics, and number six job, that is business development professionals. If you are developing your skills in the required digital era for the business development professionals, what are the jobs of the development professionals? The one job is product development, diversification in the product. If you are able to develop that particular diversification of the product, your business will develop. Is I always give the example of this automobile industry, how the products are developed. Or in the service industry, you will find into the hospitals, right? Like when you're talking about these treatments, and in the treatments, most of the laser treatments are used, right? It is not the manual surgery, rather than it is a laser surgery in the medical healthcare. Healthcare is the another area, and where these in digital transformation is happening. Another example in the service industry, and that is about the hotel industry, hotel management, and there also you will find that is these are the developments are happening in the service industry is there. Another important in the digital era is transformation specialist. Your creativity at workplace, and that will develop digital transformation. Examples are Google, Apple, Microsoft. I also have the case study of the Microsoft here. So therefore, in that case, you will find that this digital transformation is required. Those organizations which are having these digital transformation specialists, they will be leading organization in competition. Then information security analysis, now this is also is becoming a very very important jobs, and the leaders are supposed to develop, that is the cyber security or information security. So you have to develop those skills and the manpower, which will be, and there is a requirement of these the cyber security analyst is there. So many cyber security fraud which you can protect. Then the software and application developers, this is the you already know it's a very common job, and I'm sure that many of you were already must be develop yourself into the software developers. In India, you know that is the India is a country which is leading into the software developers. Then the IoT, Internet of Things specialist. So, in this particular area of the IoT, you are required to develop the manpower. And as you, for example, a railway tracking system is there, or the aircrafts are there. And when you are talking about these IoT, Internet of Things, then definitely you are able to develop. But here is a warning also how it is different from the current or the past era. Like in the past era, now when we are talking about the fintech, earlier it was the data entry clients, right? That was there. When we are talking about the administrative jobs, now those jobs are taken care of by this digital era, and therefore AI they are already doing these administrative jobs. As I mentioned about the example of the ATS, application tracking system, that is in the administration, HR administration. Earlier, this job was done by the executives, and now these jobs are done by the software, and therefore in the administration and these executives, secretaries, they have been the posts have been reduced, and therefore these jobs are reducing. Then the accounting and bookkeeping example is the fintech, which is replaced these accounting and bookkeeping, the payroll checks, clerks are the this type of the manpower. Accounting and the artifice. So therefore, these accountants and the auditors are all are that has been now that has been replaced by the technology. These are the decreasing jobs are there. Because these jobs are done by the technology, as I have given the example of the fintech. Factory workers, assembling lines, they are now automated assembling lines are there. So that was the example of this Hyundai plant in the Korea, where this assembling line, and it was all done by the machineries. There was no manpower, and automatic plants were there, and this assembly line of the factory workers job they are reducing now. Then the business services and administrative managers are there. Now why managers are required? Because many things are managed by those machineries itself, and as a result of which the number of managers that has been reduced. Client information and the customer service workforce, those who are doing the specialization in marketing. Already one example of the market research I have given, or the digital marketing I have talked about in the growing jobs. But here, this customer service that is now becoming totally depends on technology. So therefore, in this digital era, customer is not coming in interaction with a person, rather than it is coming with the interaction with the machineries, and the machineries are solving your all problems. Then there are the operation management. That is a methods. I have given the example of automobile industries, but every nature of industry. It is a oil industry also. In the oil industry, like the soya oil is there, refined oil is there, and here you will find that is these all industries machineries are they have been replaced, right, by the digital transformation. Now moderated the recording and the here that is the stock keeping, everything is inventory control management. In the operation management, earlier they were the stores department. I have 9 years of industry experience, and then in that industry experience, at that time, store department was very, very important. What is the store department? This is a department who was storing the inventories, and therefore, in that case, that was having these inventories control. But nowadays, this inventory control, the parts, spare parts of the manufacturing parts as the assembly lines, that everything is controlled by the digital era. So therefore, in that case, there is no manpower, there is no store department. Now we are working on JIT, just in time. Just in time is a Japanese concept, where because of this digital requisition, the your these inventory will be supplied immediately as soon as you order. So you do not store inventory. Your cost of the storing the inventory that has been reduced. Now you see the future of the job work study. That is what is the in this digital era. What is the future work scenario? Now there are the certain aspects. One is the globalization. Second is in this digital era, adoption of the exponential technologies by the Indian industry and the demographic changes, as the professor has rightly mentioned, that is when we are talking about the Gen Z. So naturally, when you are talking about the boom workers or the boom employees, when you are talking about the X generation, and now you are talking about the Z generation, every generation is having the different demographic changes, and the leaders have to understand these demographic changes. And when you are leading to your followers, you have to understand you are leading to the boom workers or the X generation or the Z generation. As the generation will change, the leadership style has to change. Let us see first, that is a globalization. One. When we are talking about the globalization, so there is a rapid adoption of the exponential technologies, right? So in these advanced markets and its impact on the offshoring, when you're talking about the global business, it is not restricted to the one country. Now the global is a world has become the one market, global market, and therefore you have to make the exponential technologies advancement is there. For example, the level of the FDI is the foreign direct investments, and that is a flows into India. FDI is increasing. When you're talking about the World Bank, when you're talking the IMF, so therefore international funding basically, and therefore in that case you will find that is the level of FDI that is changing. It is also the increasing the job markets for the Indian workforce, because at the global level it is increasing, right? But if you are not the technically strong, then it will be shrinking, which is applicable to the every country, and not only in the Indian workforce but the global workforce. The if you are not increasing the job markets, availing the job markets overseas, then if you are restricting yourself to only a one nation, then in that case your growth will be very limited. So you have to get the exponential understanding of the other countries requirements also. Now, the exports are concerned, this level of exports of the Indian-based companies that is also increasing. So these are the impact of the globalization on the future of jobs in India when we are talking about the future workforce is there. Now, new work arrangements are required. What are the new work arrangements are required in the exponential technologies? They are the like the robotics are there, right? So leaders have to develop these manpower into robotics, AI, artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, machine learning. As I've given the example of these many big organizations like the automobile organizations, textile organization. So machine learning is becoming very important. The social media, right? That is very important. Then the analytics jobs that has become the cloud. So therefore, in that case, cloud technologies it is becoming, and the 3D printing that is also becoming. So these are the example in the AI and digital era. The skills are required. What leaders have to do? Leaders have to develop this type of the technologies into the robotics, AI, IoTs, machine learning, social media, and analytics are concerned. For this purpose, they have to, what changes are to be made by the leaders. Leaders have to make the new work arrangements. So therefore, in that case, if you are going for these particular aspects into the new work developments, then you have to see that is the how you are going for these new work arrangements are there. Then we are also talking about this launch of the smart connected productive services. When we are going for this type of these examples where we go for of these smart connected product services are there, then we have to develop the smart products and the smart services. Have you heard about the human stores? Any one of you? Can you share that is what is the human store is there? Any have you, do you know what is a human store? Like you see that is we are having the smart stores, superstores, right? Do you know what is this the human stories? Anyone?
If you know, please put it in the chat box, please. Just write it in the chat box.
Oh, okay. I think there is no message in the chat box so far, right?
No, better just
Okay.
tell
But
them.
you see, the human stores are where you are making your store comfortable to the senior citizens, right? And it is to the old age people. And when you are making your these the senior citizens are the children, then you are making them the helping them this buying the products, and that is through the help of the technology is there. So therefore, in that case, there is a, you are supposed to develop smart connected the products and services that you are supposed to develop. Then the, it is also the nowadays the another area, and that is about it is how these the smart connected the products or services are there. So this is the creation of a highly optimized supply chain is there, and therefore in that case you will find that is the we are this is the highly optimized supply chain is there, and here when we are creating this particular the optimization of these supply chain methods, here you see that is in the operations management. So in this leadership, one has to focus on the manpower, developing the manpower according to the digital skills which are required. Another important point is that is the leaders have to develop the AI based the supply chain management, and therefore here when you are making this supply chain management AI based, then your cost of production of the product that is decreasing. Here, another now important aspect is there in the adoption of the exponential technologies and their application is the business innovation. Now we are reducing the screen size, right? So we are working on this particular mobile, right? So screen size is increasing, but the application of the digital that is increasing, and therefore the business innovations that we have to understand, it is maybe at the personal work, or it may be the professional work in the professional area, and those type of the business innovations they are going. For example, when we are talking about these production is there, or it is the product development is there, or it is the service industries are there, like the healthcare is there, or it is a transportation is there, whether it is the air transportation, road transportation, and therefore in that case it is the it becomes very very important that is the we are focusing on these business innovations are there. Now, for the students, I would like to talk on these demographic changes. Now, you see the learners, we have to see the average age. So is the, we are talking about the g, what will be the difference, and that is the boom bloomers and these the X generation, and in the case of the G generation, the leadership style has to be, that is a change. When you are talking about high proportion of young employees in your organization, that is including the millennials, and then when you are having the high proportion of this young population, then your leadership style has to be changed. When you are having this sorry.
No, just go ahead. Somebody open the mic.
Okay.
Kalamita,
We,
please close your mic.
okay, if anybody is having any question, please feel free to ask. Right. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the rising middle class is there, that is the middle class means they are not very rich, they are not poor, and therefore they normally these are the service class, right? And therefore, in that case, those who are having these rising middle class is there, then what type of the digital transformation will be helping them, are the product development in the organizations, or it is the requirements by the rising middle class is there. Simple example is of the washing machine, right? Automatic washing machines are there, or it is a question of this the utensils cleaning is concerned, or it is an example of the smart houses are concerned. Now this rising middle class is having this requisition of the smart houses, and therefore in that case you will find that is the demography is changing. Now, when we are talking about this, the urbanization, increasing the urbanization, for example, in Indonesia, we find like in the Jakarta. So when I ask the population of the Jakarta, so people say in the daytime, this is the population, and in the night time, this is the population. Very interesting explanation. So why it is now, you see, that is this urbanization is changing the definition of population in a city. If this definition is changing, there earlier there was a fixed population, there was not a floating population. What is floating population? Floating population means in the different part of these suburbs of the Jakarta, the people were living, and they were living into the Jakarta itself. But now people by travel, they go to the, and as a result you see, like I have visited this botanical garden, and in the botanical garden I found it is very cold, while when you are going to the Jakarta you find there is a difference of temperature, right? It becomes hot. So therefore here also in the campus I find it is having the low temperature as compared to the city. So therefore in that case this is the increasing the urbanization, that is also requires different digital transformation. So smart houses is the one example of this type of the digital transformation is there. Now, as I mentioned, the age of the country, that also makes a lot of difference in the digital transformation. So, for example, the Japan is now becoming the old country. Now, the India is a young country. So, when you are having the population of the young country, then your market is different, and the expanding this domestic market, that is also becoming different. So what we learn from this slide, we learn from this slide, that is whenever we are talking about the future jobs or studies, they are also having this connect with the digitalization. So leader has to understand what is a digital transformation, and accordingly they have to find out that is what type of the skills or the manpower they have to develop. Now, this is the slide which talks about the core skill for worker in the 2023, and these the average estimated skill sets, that is a percentage that you can see. So here I would like to take certain points. For example, technological literacy. It becomes very important when you are talking about developing these manpower requirement. So what is the manpower requirement? The manpower requirement is the analytical thinking, right? Creative thinking at workplace, that is called the extra role performance. So when you're talking about these extra role performance, then in that case you will be able to come out with those type of these what are the your creativity thinking is there. We also doing the research on this creative intelligence, right? And Professor Yankee, myself, and my PhD scholar, they are already working on the components of the creative thinking. So therefore, in that case, that creativity thinking is required. With this transformation, the leaders have a challenge. Challenge is that is the manpower, those who are not able to face this transformation, digital transformation, they are under depression. They are under the negative feeling emotions. What is required? They have to develop their resilience power. What is the resilience power? Resilience power means when you are failed, unsuccessful, or the negative situation in our personal life or in the professional life, we should not stop there. We should make ourselves ready for the positive emotions, better future, bright future, correctiveness, and that is called the resilience is there. So whenever we are having that resilience, that is the power to regain from the unfavorable situation, convert that negative situation to the positive situation, and that is the power of resilience is there. Another important point which is required, that is the flexibility and the agility. Flexibility, another paper has been written. Professor Anki, you remember with this Rishabh's that paper we jointly we have written, that is on the flexibility,
Yes.
and that flexibility and agility at workplace, right? And that is creating the better environment for the adoption of the digital era. And for here, when we are able to develop that resilience, we will can go. I can go through all this, but the time is short, so I will not go through all this. So but one more important is taking point number 6, that is a technological literacy, right? And therefore in that case it becomes very very important, that is our generation, especially the G generation, right? Of course the millennial and the boomers are also required to develop, but naturally they may be slow in adopting those technology literacy. But the young people like you, they are required to develop that technology literacy very fast. By under, as I mentioned, that is where the technology literacy is required in my uh, earlier slides, and therefore in that case, that is the that type of these technology literacy that will develop that particular manpower. Here we there are the HR skills are there. Their systematic thinking is required, and is point number 15, that is about the AI and big data. So now time has come. You have to develop on this particular the jobs which are related to the AI and big data is there. And what type of these positions will be there? There will be the programmers will be there, the programming will be there. The marketing area is digital marketing, another area is there. Network and cyber security is the area, and then the manual electricity is there. Global citizenship, which is nowadays is becoming the buzzword, that is you should be not only able to work with your digital skills in the one country, but you will be able to work in the different countries. So therefore if you work into the Russia or Malaysia or USA or in India, then you will become the global worker, and that is called this important is this, that is a global citizenship you have to develop, because you by your knowledge and skills, right? Here, I would also like to mention that is, if you want to be the leader, you have to focus on the four pillars. Which are those pillars? That is, the first pillar is that is about the knowledge. Second is attitude. Third is the skills. These are the digital skills. And fourth is the hobbies. Hobbies are habits to be able to get that work done. So therefore, this type of these sensory processing is there. So all these areas, which are the technological skills, are there. The physical fitness is there. Abilities are required. Here, I would like to talk about the physical abilities also, which is given at the bottom of the slide. Now you see, health makes wealth. If you do not focus on your routine, how do you spend your 24 hours of learning, or as a student, or as a professor, as a faculty, or as a government employee, or as an industry person? What is important is this, that is, we should develop the physical ability. There are the exceptions also, but we are talking in general terms. So therefore, in that case, when you are having those particular the physical abilities, you will be able to develop all these technical skills. Now you have to also develop emotional skills in the digital transformation era. If you are not positive with the development, you will not be able to learn. So you have to train yourself, and to train yourself you should have that cognitive ability, control your emotions, direct your emotions. For the learners, emotions are the learning emotions are there. Then you are supposed to have the ethics for that purpose, and then you will be having that is working with the others, team building, that you have to develop. So these are the core skills which you are very having this in digital. But is it that easy? No, it is not that easy, because there are the barriers or challenges to this business transformation. The leaders are facing the problems where skill gaps in the local labor market. So therefore, in that case, in this particular survey, it has been observed that there are the skill gaps are the 59.7%. My focus is on that is you should be able to develop those digital skill in this particular AI era, which are the industries are looking for, because there are the skill gaps are there. We talk about the digital literacy, we talk about the technological literacy, but we still requires lot of efforts are to be done to develop the global citizens who will be able to perform globally technically. So inability to attract talent. Now, many organizations, there some of you are maybe good, but they are not able to attract the talent is there, and there are the inflexible regulatory framework is there. Still, like for example, work from home. So work from home is a flexibility in the workplace. Now like I am taking this class, and this is the flexibility for you, that is the wherever you are learning from that particular place. So this is the, but everybody is not. What is happening is the learners are not able to learn because of that the absence of this classroom environment. So there are the skill gaps are among the organizations leadership is there. Organizations are not able to develop that type of leadership which requires for that particular skill development manpower. Shortage of the investment capital, money is the another reason. In this case, the leaders, they are not able to develop the manpower. This is a challenge because there is not enough money. Insufficient understanding of opportunities. When I say global leadership, when I say global citizenship, then these are the opportunities, dear friends. But I do not know many of you are having the exposure to the international scenario, and therefore, you remember that slide? 29 million jobs are available, but the people say there are no jobs. So the reason is they are not having the understanding of opportunities. If you do not develop yourself according to the opportunities, it will be difficult for you. So what are the 21st century skills are the digital era requires? English, that is a global language. Dear friends, that is the unless and until the leader does not develop the followers with the international common speaking language, right? Which is the most spoken language in internationally. And therefore, in that case, you have to develop and understand and learn this particular the English language to develop yourself in this digital era. Then the reading, comprehend, and the writing in English, the mathematics, right? I can understand that everybody cannot have this good mathematics skill, but whatever minimum is required, so at least a school level mathematics one should know. Then we have to also understand this universe. To understand the universe, your basic science that is required to be very strong. You have to also understand your government policies. What are the government policies? What are the government is looking for? And also the economy of the country. That is where is the economy of the country that you have to understand. You have to also develop your skills into the digital skills into the humanities and arts and the history and geography, and therefore these are the basic skills which you are required to develop in this digital era. Now these skills you have to apply for the critical thinking, communication, written communication, team building, information technology applications. Because what happens, you may have the knowledge of these skills in the school or in college, but you should be able to apply. So many people are not able to make the application of these skills, as a result of which they are having the leadership issues or problems. And therefore, to make yourself effective leader, you are supposed to develop developing the global citizenship and the global leadership. And then the lifelong learning or the self-direction is required. Now here I would like to say that is the you are beginning your career, right? So therefore lifelong you have to develop an attitude to learn. And then self direction means you should know your strength and your weakness. If you know your strength and weakness, then accordingly you will be able to develop yourself into that particular directions. There is a self direction because it may be for next 5 years, then next 5 years, and in average there can be the 30 years maybe, or 25 to 30 years will be your professional life, and therefore minimum are they about approximately, and therefore you have to continuously learn from each other. At this stage also, me and Professor Yankee, we are learning from the each other's country. We are learning the culture, the cross cultural aspects in the different countries. We are also learning how what the manpower development practices. So therefore in that case, that professionalism and social responsibility aspects that we which are very important in the 21st century skills are concerned. How to develop these skills? So these skills are required the learning and innovation skills. In the digital era, it is very important you are innovative, you are creative. If you are not innovative, you will not be able to develop innovation skills. You should know the information technological skills. You should know the role of the media, and therefore in that case you can build your life and career skills are there. The life skills and career skills, that is becoming very very important. How you are leading your life and how you are building your careers. So I would like to give certain examples. When we are talking about developing these skills in the digital era, it is the critical thinking, problem solving, innovation, and the creativity skills are there. Life and the career skills and the information media and technological skills. Now, the method for developing these particular skills. The first is the build. Invest in learning and development to grow your talent pipeline. So, this digital learning, right? Learning the artificial intelligence skills. You have to understand these transformational skills. You have to build those skills in learning is there. Then you have to also understand the market out what to learn. Many people are learning, but they are not learning according to the market demand. So you have to find out the best talent that can be by in the how otherwise cannot be possible by the industries that you have to understand are temporary. Time being, you have to borrow that particular type of the natural skills, and then you have to bridge. That is the helping the people to making to new roles inside or outside in the organizations are there. So, to win in the digital age, an effective talent strategy should have the four parts, that is, a build, buy, borrow, and bridge. So, build your talent pipeline, buy the skills where necessary, and borrow from the external talent sources and bridge the people. This is a leadership style. So, if you want to develop your the talent for the future digital era, then in that case, you have to develop an very important digital effective talent strategy, and you should be able to build, buy, and borrow and bridge. So, when you are having that is build your talent pipeline, right? So but how to develop, and that is through the learning knowledge development or the skill developments or the buying the people from the outside and adopting the new skills are there. So the leadership in this new era, there are the four possibilities: new jobs being created. Leaders have to be in the threatened jobs, find out the changing jobs, and developing the unchanged jobs are there. Now, this is the model which I was talking about. That is about the knowledge, skills, attitude, and the habit is there. So when we talk about the technology, how to develop our manpower by the leaders through the help of the cash model, and that is we talk about the that particular knowledge which is required here, how we can develop in the academic institutes. Now, we have to make the contextual environment, learning environment, enabling environment. And when we are able to create that learning environment, whether into the organization or into the academic institute, definitely we will be able to develop the technical leaders, right? But our institutional leadership should be more interactive, more open, and out of the bureaucracy. Many times, the leaders are not able to avail the benefit of the globalization because of their barriers of bureaucratic barriers and therefore administrative barriers, as a result of which the institutional leadership is not able to develop that manpower which they are expected to. Then the competency development, developing that knowledge, attitude, and skills, and developing these the learning methodologies, that is the pedagogy methodologies are there. So what type of the different skills are required by the manager at different managerial levels? So this leadership is required top managers, that is the concepts are to be clear. What are the conceptual skills? Whatever you are studying or whatever is your business, what it is. For example, it is the statue building organizations. When you are developing the statues or the idols, so it is not that you are just cutting the stone, but it is you are creating a faith. You are creating an worship place, and that you should understand. Pharmaceutical industries. Pharmaceutical industries not only the manufacturing the medicines, but the concept is clear that you are having that particular style of developing that manpower, and when you are able to develop that particular manpower, you will be able to create that solution where you will be developing your manpower into this particular skills development will be there. Second is human skills. So, interpersonal skills are very important in this digital era. What is happening? That we are not interacting with each other, and as a result of it, interpersonal dynamics, working togetherness, and the global is a one village. That concept is like in India we talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in Sanskrit. What it means, that is the we are having the global family. We all are of us are the part of the global family, and that becomes very very important. And then there are the technical skills are there, knowledge skills are required. Now, can you see that is a red color? That red color is that is about a particular skills. So the top managers, right, they are required to have the more conceptual skills. The middle managers level of importance, they are having the human skills, and the lower level managers, they are having the high technical skills, knowing their jobs, and there are the low other skills are there. Now, we finally come to the developing the skill gaps. What are the skill gaps are there? So, strategic thinking is required. That is the here we are having development of strategies for the digital transformation, and we should be able to create the problem solving. Now, businesses in this transformation area, they are having the different problems. One problem is the market development. They are not able to develop that market, and therefore, digital marketing, because it is a global market, you have to sell your product globally. It is not that you are selling your product only to a particular geographical regions, but you are expanding your horizon, and therefore, but when you expand your business, what is required, that is the global leadership is required, because the creative problem solving people, suppose you introduce your business for example mcdonald mcd, you take the example, or when you're talking about the walmart, and when you are expanding your business, it becomes very very important, that is the you are able to develop that particular business into this creative problem solving. Are you creative? If you are creative in problem solving, then definitely you are a successful leaders. Second is that is the industry related work experience. Now you are having that is a less common and less desired. So therefore here the people, they are not that high initiative taking, and as a result of which their adaptability is less, right? So what is to be required, with the help of your analytical thinking and ability to work collaboratively, you have to initiate risk taking. No risk no gain. So therefore you should be able to take that particular risk, and you should be able to take the decisions, tough decisions, because the decisions will be involved the risk, and then you have to take those decisions which will be a very very the important uh, uh, here in the chat box the messages are there. Okay, it is true that AI is important for this okay, I will just finish, and then we will come to these comments later. Process Ankit, that is okay.
Yeah, yeah, because there are already three questions that and then some more questions are coming.
Right. So just I will finish in next 10-15 minutes, right?
Okay,
And then we can take question one by one, right?
okay.
Right. So here, when we are talking about this initiative risk checking or the decision making, then definitely in that case we will be able to make the leadership global. And what is important is global mindset. What is global mindset? That is the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, our global mindset should be able to identify the opportunities. I have to also understand when you are into the global market, there will be the certain threats also. How to meet the strength and the opportunities. So, therefore, match your strength with the opportunities, right? And convert your weakness into the strength by these particular threats are there. So this is the entrepreneurship styles, that is the which have to develop, and the quantitative in motivations and drives, that will be more common, and that will be the less desired will be there. Here, I would like to mention this particular one paper, the news, and this news of the paper is skill census, a unique exercise to by the one the state, Andhra Pradesh state of the India, that they have developed the Skill Development Corporation, nodal agency for conducting the census that is aimed at providing accurate data for the government. What is that? Skill and competencies among youth in Andhra Pradesh. So therefore, skill inventory development. What skill in level is existing? What is the skill level is required at the globally, and how to bridge this particular gap, and that gap will be bridged with the skill development corporation. This is a wonderful idea that is by these the Andhra Pradesh government is there. So, which are the skills? Oral skills, written, problem solving, money management, stress relieving, productivity, socializing, data closer to spot new trends, and negotiation skills are there. So, there these are the skills are required. Conceptual IT skills, analytical skills, interpersonal skills, delegations, conflict resolution, multitasking, innovative, and the organizing is there. So we have to make the competency enabling in the digital era. So the leadership development, that is the part-time and distance education programs, we have to develop. The higher educations are there. By this is a company. How this Infosys is a company, that how they are developing this competency enabling. Second is the leadership development. What they are doing, that is they are developing the leaders on the strategic business and operational leadership roles are there. Business leaders and the operational leaders, competency enabling for the better management for the self, teams, and the clients and business is there. Here, there also there was a benchmarking was the first bench switching that was the first initiated by the Infosys during the economic recession. What they have made is whatever the existing manpower, if there is not enough project and that manpower is idle, it will not remain idle. That manpower will go under the training programs by the organization, and that is the certification programs for the key skills, that will be role based training for the competency enhancement, and this is the organization development is there. So 14 weeks the training is given to the freshers, those who have just completed their graduation and they have entered, so that is becoming the entry level training is there. Then they are the benchmark against the US standards are there, whatever the global requirement. Here I would like to mention one important concept. Every student should know benchmark requirement. What is the benchmark requirement? Benchmark requirement means this is the competency level is required by the global organizations, multinational companies. They require a particular benchmark practices. So web-based integrating training management system is there, and therefore those, once you know what is the benchmark requirement, and then you roadmap your competency towards a particular benchmark environment is there. So e-learning modules are there. So, which are the subjects which are supposed to be developed? So, international business, you have to develop the skills. You are into the corporate finance. These are the areas where you have to develop your digital skills. Supply chain, data science, data analytics, organizational politics. Very interesting. Every organization, there are the group dynamics, that is called the some groups are supporting you, some groups do not, and that is called this that particular the organizational politics is there. Now you can't say that is there should not be the organizational politics. Organizational politics has to be there, it will be remain, and therefore in that case you should be able to handle that organizational politics. There are the advertising and media also, and you have to develop nowadays the skills which are digital skills into the news anchors. There are these different social medias, or there are the into this print media. There are into this audio media, right? And then you have to develop the artificial intelligence. Then you nowadays also skills are required, or you can develop your career in digital skills with the in the era of the sports management, or into the digital marketing, or machine learning, macro and macroeconomics, right? Those who are the students of the economics, they can also develop that particular macro and macroeconomics are there. Then the design thinking and decision science. This is nowadays a very buzzword. That is the, are you creative, or you are developing a design, and therefore when you are designing something, then that is a service design. For example, you are from this service industry, and then you have to make the service design into the hotels, in the hospitals, or urban development managements are there, because urbanization is increasing, its impact is on the transportation. Now the transportation, digital transportation, how you can introduce, then the digital market research, then the green technology, blockchain technology, and then the aeon habit certified hr analytics, mergers acquisition. Tourism management is another very important area, where you have to develop your these digital skills. So therefore, because now, as I mentioned, it is a global village, global tourism. And now when there are the global tourism, for simple example, like here is a go check is there, and then these different these like the Google Pay, there are different pay is there, Go Pay is there, right? And there are the transportation from a airport to, we have to go to different places, and that is in case of the India, there is a Ola, Uber, right? Then you in the tourism management, that is nowadays NB. So therefore, in that case, you are booking accommodation booking, and then it will not be very costly. And the infrastructure management is there. This is becoming a very very important, and that is also to the ASEAN countries. That is they are required to develop the infrastructure. And when you want to develop the world class infrastructure development up to the villages, it is not only the major countries cities, sorry, that is the big cities only. No. Infrastructure management is required to reach with the digital help to the villages, the people, those who are living far from this Jakarta. They are also having the same infrastructure what is the Jakarta is having. Similarly in India, what is the Delhi, Bombay is having, then Mumbai, then the same it is required to develop that particular infrastructure is there. So how you can develop that digital?
Professor Santos, it's already almost 3:30. Is it possible for us to have a Q&A session?
Okay, these PowerPoints are available to you, Professor Yankee, right?
Okay,
And they can refer later on, because there are the certain case studies also. So
okay,
especially my Microsoft and other case studies, so
sure.
they can develop that case studies.